Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is. Are you ready for another story? I picked a chapter book. It's called Mr. Putter and Tabby Write a Book. And it's by, wait a minute, the illustrator is Arthur Howard and the author is Cynthia Rylant. And I love Mr. Putter stories. If you don't know Mr. Putter, I think that you'll enjoy getting to know him. And this book takes me right back to when my kids were little. And we're ready for our first chapter story. So here are the chapters. Number 1, an idea. Number 2, chapter 1. And number 3, good things. Let's start with chapter 1, an idea. I'm stepping on some paper here. In the winter, a big snow always came to Mr. Putter's house. Ooh, I like it when a big snow comes to my house. Mr. Putter and his fine cat Tabby liked big snows, but they couldn't go out in them. They were too old. Mr. Putter might slip and break something. Tabby might catch a bad cold. There go all the kids. They're excited to play in the big snow. They didn't mind staying in, though, because Mr. Putter's house was so cozy. It had nice soft chairs. It had velvet pillows. It had a fireplace. Staying in was all right when everything was so soft and velvety and warm. That looks lovely. Maybe he's having a cup of tea or some hot cocoa. One day, when Mr. Putter and Tabby were inside for a big snow, Mr. Putter got an idea. His idea was to write a book. He had everything a writer needed. A soft chair, a warm fire, a good cat. And he had a pen, and plenty of paper. I've always wanted to write a mystery novel, Mr. Putter said to Tabby. So he brought out lots of paper, lit the fire, plumped his chair, and got ready to begin. First, he had to think of a title. He thought and thought and thought. A title for a mystery story. Finally, he told Tabby, I shall call my book The Mystery of Lighthouse Cove. It was a very good title. It was full of mystery. As a boy, he had read a lot of books with titles like that. Oh, there's Mr. Putter as a little boy. Mr. Putter was so pleased he decided to fix a snack. He went to the kitchen and fixed a big apple salad, a pan of corn muffins, some custard pudding, and a cheese ball. Mr. Putter spent 3 minutes on his title and 4 hours on his snacks. Then he took a nap. Writing a mystery was not easy work. This is chapter number 2, and it's titled Chapter 1. On the second day that he was a mystery writer, Mr. Putter had a nice long breakfast with Tabby of oatmeal and tea. Then he settled down to write again. I love oatmeal. But first, he had to stoke the fire. Then he had to clean Tabby's ears. Then he had to find a sweater. Then he had to move his chair closer to the window. Then he had to move it back. So busy getting ready. Then he settled down to write again. He was ready to write. Mr. Putter looked at the walls and he thought, and he thought, and he thought, and he thought. And finally he wrote Chapter 1. He began to think some more. As he was thinking, he looked out his window. A rabbit was in his yard. Such a nice rabbit, Mr. Putter said to Tabby. The rabbit made him think of Easter, and Easter made him think of boiled eggs. Can you predict what Mr. Putter will do next? He decided to fix a snack. He went to the kitchen and fixed 20 boiled eggs and a vegetable stew. Mr. Putter spent 1 minute on chapter 1 and 3 hours on eggs and stew. Then he took a bath. Then he took a nap. Mystery writing wore him out. Remember, he's an older gentleman. Chapter 3, Good Things. The third day that he was a mystery writer, Mr. Putter woke up ready to write again. He liked being a writer ready to write. First, he and Tabby had cinnamon toast and tea. Then Mr. Putter patted Tabby and began to think. He looked out his window thinking. He looked at his fire thinking. He looked at Tabby, thinking. Mr. Putter thought how blue the sky was. He thought how warm the fire felt. He thought how nice it was to be with Tabby. He thought about so many good things that he began to write them down. He wrote and wrote. Mr. Putter wrote all day. Can you read what he wrote? Good things, yellow cats, old sweaters, cinnamon toast, long baths, good dogs, and rain. Ooh, what would go on your list of good things? Maybe you would write even a longer list of good things. When he finally stopped writing, the big snow had melted. Mr. Putter went next door with Tabby to visit Mrs. Teaberry and her good dog Zeke. They had some French fried butternut squash for supper. Yum, there's a lot of good food in this book. Then Mr. Putter read Good Things. When he finished, Mrs. Teaberry said it was enchanting. She said Mr. Putter was a wonderful writer. She said she could listen forever. I wanted to write the mystery of Lighthouse Cove, Mr. Putter said sadly, but I wrote Good Things instead, and I ate too much and I took too many naps. Honest reflection. Mrs. Teaberry told him not to worry. She said the world is full of mystery writers, but writers of good things are few and far between. Mr. Putter did not feel so sad then. He did not feel sad at all. In fact, he was thrilled. Every writer loves a good review. To celebrate good reviews and good neighbors, Mr. Putter took Mrs. Teaberry and Tabby and Zeke out for vanilla malts. Those are kind of like milkshakes. And Mr. Putter had so much fun and thought of so many good things. They could not wait for the next big snow. What do you think he'll do at the next big snow? So he could be a writer again. Oh my goodness, is he writing right now? No, he's taking one of his naps. The end. There's Tabby by the fire. What a sweet story. It makes me want to go make a list of good things. And on it, I would include books and reading books to you. Hope you have a good day. Think of all the good things that you could write on your list. Or maybe you'll be a mystery writer. Or maybe you'll take a nap and have lots of snacks. Have a fun day.